I want to welcome everybody back to the June Eye on Piscataway. We have a very action-packed monthly program here. We have programming showing the Safe Streets, sponsored by the Piscataway Police Department, a Meet the Mayor segment. We've also had some film footage from the L.E.A.D picnic, as well as swim lessons that folks should take a look into at our community center, which is being sponsored by the Middlesex County Commissioners. But we were also very fortunate enough to have Dr. Opal stop by Kennedy Library for a seminar right there, which was well attended by over 250 people. And then we also have the flag raising ceremony at a community center. So let's go to the videotape.
For those of you who don't know the history, the story of how Juneteenth became a federal holiday, I am happy to tell you that it is thanks in large part to the courage and ingenuity of the phenomenal woman. In 2016, at 89 years old, Dr. Lee began the Opal's Walk campaign in a bid to call attention to the fact that Juneteenth was not yet a federal holiday. Dr. Lee began the movement that thousands of others took up, walking from Fort Worth, Texas to Washington, D.C., some 1,400 miles.
And what was one of the biggest obstacles you faced in your fight for Juneteenth's recognition? And how did you overcome it?
I'm not so sure that I had obstacles. We friends gathered at Baker Chapel, African Methodist Episcopal Church, and they gave me this big send-off, and I started walking 1,400 miles from Fort Worth to Washington, D.C. I don't remember a single person being negative. Now, I tried to give a gentleman a flyer, and he brushed me off. And I figured he was late to work, and he didn't have time. Other than that, didn't have any obstacle.
Okay. What advice would you give to young people today who want to make a difference in their communities?
I'd ask them, not just the young people, but everybody in this audience, to make yourself a committee of one to change somebody's mind. You know people who aren't on the same page you all. Change their minds. Not going to happen in a day. You're going to have to work at it. But if people have been taught to hate, they can be taught to love. And it's your responsibility.
How do you envision the future of Juneteenth celebrations across the country?
Already we are seeing so many other states and all around the nation, not just ours, around the world, people are celebrating Juneteenth. And I wanted them to know that it's not just a festival, that it means freedom. Not just for black people, not just for people in Texas, but for all people. Freedom. And we aren't free yet.
Even though the Emancipation Proclamation was made effective in 1863 by President Abraham Lincoln, it could not be implemented in places still under Confederate control. As a result, in the westernmost Confederate state of Texas, enslaved people would not be free until much later. Freedom finally came in June 19, 1865, when some 2,000 Union troops arrived in Galveston Bay, Texas. The Army announced that the more than 250,000 enslaved black people in the state were free by executive decree. This day came to be known as Juneteenth by the newly freed people in Texas.
Faith, that can conquer anything. Faith that our truths are problems, and faith to know that God, He can solve them.
Wipe those tears from your eyes. I said, hey, black girl, from my family, just to cast me down in slavery.
And Councilwoman Cahill, right here, our Council President, and then Council Vice President Espinosa. Thank you for all joining. Is everybody ready for a great summer? Come on! Yeah! What a great summer. And the 4th of July fireworks are taking off on 4th of July. We're one of the few towns that actually does it on 4th of July. So I want you to all be excited and ready to do a lot of great things. I want to thank the staff here at Sterling Village and everything. I know some of them are outside catching something to eat.
Today we're here to do the unveiling of Lorraine Ledbetter's exquisite painting of Piscataway Senior Center. Her masterpiece, Piscataway Senior Center, is very inspiring. And before we unveil it, I'm just going to let you know a little bit about Lorraine. Lorraine is a juried artist residing in Piscataway, New Jersey, and Lorraine made significant impact on our local art scene. Her impressive artwork has graced the walls of JFK Library and the YMCA at the Piscataway Community Center. Her extraordinary talent has also caught the attention of real estate agencies in both New York and New Jersey. She has shared with me on many times that her beautiful detailed paintings of houses and landscapes have become cherished gifts for new home buyers during their closing process. She first had painted, she came in one day, she was dressed as an artist for our Halloween party. Little did I know that the painting she was holding was one that she was painting of the center. And so at that point, I knew about her gifts, about her painting gifts, and she has now painted this beautiful picture of the center. And Lorraine, would you like to come up and we'll unveil it together, okay? Let's see, I'll stand over here.
Thank you, and we appreciate all the talents, not just Lorraine has, but a lot of the other folks here in our community have that have contributed back to our community. And we look forward to seeing it. More importantly, every day when people walk in the door, that's a good thing. So we're going to have to find some extra space so we can do some of your other artwork. Yeah.
I just want to say how grateful I am that I had the opportunity to paint this for everybody to see. And Amy was wonderful to let me do it, and it was my pleasure, and I enjoyed enjoyed doing it. I loved the outcome of it and how everybody enjoys looking at it. So thank you for letting me do this, and my pleasure.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Lena Lona. I'm the president of Middlesex County Regional Chamber of Commerce. Welcome. This is part 2 of the part series. And today we have with us Mayor Cahill from New Brunswick, Mayor Clento from Dunellen, Mayor Foster from Highland Park, and our host mayor, and thank you for hosting, Mayor Waller here at Piscataway. And our moderator today is our former chairman of the board of the chamber and the current VP for the Convention and Visitors Bureau, and the former mayor of East Brunswick, Bill Needham.
The Helix and about the Cancer Center and the things that are happening, why Downtown Magnet is going to work for the rest of the community surrounding it.
Phase 1 of this site is the Innovation and Technology Center for the state of New Jersey. It's a partnership among Rutgers University, Princeton University, Hackensack Meridian, RWJ Barnabas, some universities in Europe and in Israel, and New Jersey Economic Development Authority. They will take about 175 to 200,000 square feet. It'll all be devoted to innovation. It'll have incubator space so that startups can go to this facility, interact with some of the leading R&D and innovation and technology facilities and entities in the world. Rutgers University will be doing a first of its kind, a translational research facility. Phase 2, Bell Labs, Nokia will be relocating its facilities to New Brunswick. If you have any familiarity with them, they are the leading research and innovation facility in the world. If you look at all of the patents, all of the Nobel Prizes that have been won over the last bunch of years, there's no entity that has done more than these folks. So they will be relocating to phase 2, again across from the train station, and they will be in the ground in 2020, maybe the tail end of 25. It might leak into the early part of 26, and they'll be relocating in 28. They'll be here. So the whole operation is coming here. It's going to add up a whole lot of a new dimension to the city of New Brunswick. But one of the things that we do, and in partnership with these folks that we deal with, we try to make it something that not only creates benefit to the community for revenue and or jobs, etc., but the ground floor of this will be a museum of all of the things that Bell Labs has done over the years, and it's quite remarkable. They have one now where they're at in Murray Hill, but you can't get there. So here you can get to New Brunswick and go to it. Phase 3, we continue to retool because of all of the activity in phases 1 and phases 2. It's created a great deal of interest. And so what started as a 150, 200,000 square foot office building with approximately 300 residential units on top of it, we're looking at some options that we have now. People who've expressed interest from really terrific companies that we would love to have in town, and we're gauging whether or not that's the best fit. So we're keeping our powder dry on phase 3 until we're convinced it's the absolute right project. We've developed 8,000 new jobs in the city of New Brunswick, which is really, well, not every job goes to a New Brunswick resident, but the majority of them do. We do send some people over to Highland Park, so that they can enjoy it. But that's really the partnership that we have. And so it is with that in mind that we continue to push these types of things.
There are a couple thousand people I know who end up showing Piscataway for a football game once in a while. We, and the Chamber, we advertise places like Lincoln, Nebraska, Ann Arbor, Michigan, places that are going to be bringing football teams next year, Los Angeles, to come to Piscataway to watch a football game, maybe eat dinner in Highland Park and New Brunswick, or other places like that. So travel and tourism is a very important part of our economy here. And Mayor Waller, your collaboration with Rutgers University is actually very important for how your economic values are.
Well, Bill, I'm glad you brought up the 800-pound gorilla in the room. So Rutgers University. As Jim knows, a lot of the university is non-taxable. In Piscataway Township, the university owns 4 square miles. However, as Bill said, we do have a spillover effect with some of the R&D and the hospitality industry right there, but you don't want it to stop there because you just can't rely on Big Ten games. We'd like to see more development done on the Rutgers side to help out the communities around here. Not in the immediate downtown area of New Brunswick, but they have an ancillary impact throughout the surrounding communities. But I neglected to talk about a redevelopment site that we do have in town. If you look out the back window, there's the old Belcourt Tower there. That is going to be end up being condos on there, and then the top floor is going to be a restaurant. And you can actually see New York City from there. We also are going to have a standing hotel there, a CVS, some other ancillary things, and the county health department's located there also. There's also research and development that's still going to stay there. There's going to be some additional housing there as per our COA obligation. So that'll be sort of like our little mini downtown area, if you want to call it that. I know all 3 of these mayors that live next or near or in train station zones right here. We don't have that in Piscataway. So if you're a Piscataway resident, you either go to the Edison train station, New Brunswick train station, or the Denellen train station. However, but what we do have on our end, we have businesses that are tied into transit. We have Stratos company, which repairs all the train car wheels in our town across the country. We do have Kinkasharo, which is looking to make that their North American headquarters, who has a lot of contracts for the city of Los Angeles, the city of Atlanta, the BART system in San Francisco. And you're saying, how does this company in Piscataway have all these mass transit repair things? Well, what they do is they bring the trains in by rails, and then they repair them, and then they send them back out to the MARTA system or wherever they have the contract with. So, which is very interesting. So we're not getting people commuting out of the train station. We're getting the repair end of it, which is actually very good paying jobs. And we work with these companies to try to get them to have welders. We were running a shortage, Jim, on welders in our town. So we had to go out there publicly and try to pitch to people to come in and have qualified welders in the town. So, but like I said, there again, we're still piggybacking off of New Brunswick, Rutgers. We're still a telecommunications town. Very large logistics town now with all the small businesses that are located within our community. And it'll continue that way. We're close enough to the port because of the turnpike in 287 that a lot of the entrepreneurs, overseas entrepreneurs, they look at an area 20 miles outside of the port, and Piscataway in this area, New Brunswick and Denellen and Highland Park all keeps ringing the bell to locate their small businesses in a lot of these large, quote unquote, the bad warehouses, which are small. A lot of them are small businesses in there. So with that, but I listen. I can't complain, Jim, with all the economic development, because now a lot of the taxation districts in our town are flush with so much money they don't even know where to spend it. Especially our fire districts. Even our school district now has more money now coming into the history as a school district at all levels, and so has our township. It's just that even though when you have revenue coming in, you got to spend it wisely on capital improvement projects to attract more businesses and to take care of the needs of the residents in the town. You just can't spend it away. The general public, as all 3 of the mayors up here know, that the general public needs to see tangible end products for what they're paying for and what they're getting back. And road improvements and infrastructure improvements. We also have, Bill, on a side note,
through the President's Inflation Reduction Act, we're going to have the largest solar project installed in central New Jersey this year. It's a $25 million project where all of our government facilities are getting solar. We're going to have 28 charging stations throughout town. I think we're going to have the most charging stations on our government properties than any other town in the state of New Jersey. And all that is just costing the local taxpayers $900,000 because of the tax credits, the federal money that we got in, and Jim and I, since our communities are standalone communities when it comes to federal revenue coming in, we both received well over $100,000 each additional from monies at the federal level towards any energy efficiency program. We were using that towards the solar. So all I know, the electrical unions love this year in Piscataway for the next 18 months of doing the install.
Highland Park does not have a helix, okay? And they don't have the people fixing the trains, but they do have an issue about where the people in a small town going to go buy their groceries. So what's going on in Highland Park in terms of your grocery store?
As many of us know, that we lost our grocery store about a year ago, a year and a few months now. And when I was running, that was the biggest issue. When is Highland Park going to get a grocery store? And an interesting note, we did not lose our supermarket because it wasn't successful. We lost our supermarket because these supermarkets are looking for bigger footprints. And we are about 3,500 square feet, so we did not have the space that they are looking for. So that became a real problem, and I pound the pavements just like I pound the pavements when I was campaigning. And I would talk to anyone. And people would say to me, how are you going to make that happen? I say, it doesn't matter. I talk to everyone. I say, I'll talk to the janitor, because the janitor might know somebody who heard something, or know someone who knows someone, or overheard a conversation somewhere. Through that process, we had 10 persons at the table that wanted us to come in and to look at our space for a possible supermarket. We do not own the property, it is privately held. But my job was to get out there and talk to as many persons as possible to get them to come to our town and to bring a supermarket in. They selected one of the 10, and we are receiving our Super Fresh supermarket in, and they have gutted. The prior supermarket was there for about 50 years, and it was in desperate need of repairs. So the new owners that's coming in, they have gutted the entire building.
Once again, it's another good transition. Donnell, an older town, has to face the reality of changing demographics, and you have what's important to Donnell's attraction is a train station. We talked about that. So how does that impact what you're planning to do with your redevelopment and developing your town into the future?
And as you noted, we're an older town, so that's been a difficult sell to the generational families that are in our community. You know, you have older families who are kind of reluctant to the efforts that we're doing. So it's also about educating your public about the importance of why you're going to redevelop your community. As Mayor Waller noted, he is, what you said, 36% of your ratables are commercial?
39%.
39%. Denellen's only 10%.
Yeah.
So that 90% is on the residents' rateable side. So it's the promotion of, we need revenue to generate to offset or stabilize the tax burden on the residents. So it's important that we redevelop, and we believe in arts as part of that economic development. We're going to be having our first public mural display installation underneath the train trestle. Dealing with NJ Transit's not easy, but we got it done. So we have a creative population as well, and it's about just welcoming those who are new to the town. I go out and knock on every single door. I do have the benefit of being a square mile town, so I knock on every new resident's door, or I send them a letter welcoming them to Denellen, give them information, get them involved. So it's about building community and using our train station as our greatest asset to how we redevelop the downtown.
I want to thank all the mayors for coming here. A round of applause.
Tonight we're going to talk about the Safe Streets program. This program is funded by the New Jersey Division of Highway Traffic Safety. Now, resident complaints. Speeding is a very common complaint we get in the Traffic Safety Division. And when I first came into the Traffic Safety Division, we were getting nonstop complaints, and we didn't really have a great strategy to address these complaints. That kind of prompted how we came up with this program. With lower staffing levels and more calls, I don't want to tell you that the officers don't have time for it, but between 4 and 7 p.m. when there's 5 or 6 accidents going on at the same time, and there's alarms, and there's people getting hurt at the schools playing basketball after school, our officers are very busy, and they don't always have the time to get out there and do these speed enforcement details. From 2010 to 2021, 9.09% of collisions on 25-mile-per-hour roadways were attributed to vehicles traveling at unsafe speeds, so almost 10%. The concerning thing about it is you see the county and the state average is about half of what our average was in Piscataway. That's the real concerning mark there. More recently in 2021, 11.55% of these collisions due to unsafe speed, while the state average dropped to 3.61. So we're almost 3 times the state average. These collisions most often occur between 4 and 6 p.m. Almost 16% of them occurring between 4 and 6 p.m. Obviously that's rush hour, so that's when the most people are driving. Young drivers between the ages of 16 to 20 are involved in these collisions in Piscataway over 29% of the time. In the past, our department would average about 100 speeding tickets issued per year. You're going to see at the end of this presentation how high that number has gone now. We set out to develop a comprehensive speed enforcement program. Objectives of this campaign, we set out 2 specific goals. This was for the 2023 calendar year, and number 1 was to reduce these collisions by 3%. Remember, we talked about 9.09% of these collisions were involved. We want to reduce that number by 3%. Second goal was we want to reduce the young driver collisions by 4%. So those were the goals we set. We were able to purchase 4 of these with funding provided by the Division of Highway Traffic Safety last year. These units are portable. We're able to move them around so we can address complaints as they come in. We wanted portable units so that way they're not stuck on one street forever, and we could actually move them to address complaints as they come in. Important part of these, they have the capability of collecting vehicle speed and volume data. So after this sign is out there on your street for about a month or so, we'll go out there and we'll download the data out of it. And the data will tell us the average vehicle speed so we can confirm if speeding is or is not a problem. And then we can use that data to look at when the speeding is most prevalent. And when that speeding is most prevalent is when we're going to assign officers out there. Now, infrastructure improvements this year. These just went up about a week ago. Park Avenue, West 4th Street, Mountain Avenue, and School Street. Rumble strips, I'm sure everybody around town has seen those by now. They've been around for about a year or 2. You drive over it, it rumbles your car a little bit, and they're often followed by 25-mile-per-hour markings in the road. Speed bumps are a common thing that are brought up. A lot of people ask, I get that call a lot. I get this call all the time. I want everybody to understand there are limitations to speed bumps. Number 1 is it slows emergency response. They are noisy. Whatever house they put the speed bump in front of, it's going to be loud. Wear on residents' vehicles if you have to go over that speed bump every day. And when we look at the studies from a traffic enforcement perspective, the studies show that they do not actually reduce speed, because what speed you do lose going over it, the studies show that the average person speeds up in between the next speed bump to make up for it. We hosted over 20 educational seminars in the high school, the magnet school, which is the VOTEC, and the Timothy Christian School. I got to talk to the kids, the presenters got to talk to the kids, and we tell them stories, not to scare them, but so that they're aware of the dangers of speeding. And a lot of kids don't understand the risks with speeding. Community engagement. That's why we're here tonight. We want the community engaged in this program. We want the support of the community in a program like this. Last year we offered lawn signs. We're doing that again this year. But this year we also have a number of events that we're doing so we can promote this campaign. The last one was a couple weeks ago. We did Coffee with a Cop with lawn signs in front of Quick Check. We're here tonight at the second one. We'll be at the street fair, and there's a bicycle rodeo. 2023 results for selective speed enforcement. Over 200 details last year were initiated, over 1,800 motor vehicle stops, over 1,800 summonses, and 65% of those summonses that were issued by our officers on these details were for actual speeding. So we went from 100 to around 1,000. So 65% of 1897. So yeah, went from 100 to around 1,000. Resident complaints have reduced. Community has shown great support of this program. I see that just by the attendance in this room tonight. It's great. Thank you all for coming out. We applied for, we are currently in year 2 of this program. We applied for year 3. We're waiting on the approval right now. So our goal, remember, we want to reduce collisions by 3%, unsafe speed collisions by 3%. Result, they went from 9.95% in 2022 to 4.61% in 2023. Second goal, the young driver goal. We want to reduce those collisions by 4%. Went from 29.20% historically to 20% in 2023. First of all, you guys are our eyes and ears in the community, okay? If you guys are seeing speeding and you guys are not seeing officers on your street, that's where you should be calling us. Call us, or that is a link. You can scan that with your phone, okay? That is a link to that portal I told you about. At the very, you gotta scroll all the way to the bottom. It's a long web page. All the way at the bottom, there's that portal.
Thank you all for being here today as we announce a special new program that will have a real impact in so many of our children. Last year, my fellow county commissioners and I were appalled to hear about the many drownings happening, not only in New Jersey, but throughout the U.S., with people, particularly children, drowning at a higher rate than before the pandemic. We wondered if there was something we could do to help increase access to basic swimming lessons. Today, I'm pleased to announce our new pilot program, free swimming lessons for every second grade student residing in Middlesex County. This initiative is made possible through grants received by the Middlesex County Office of Health Services, and I'd like to thank Les Jones, Director of our Health, and his entire team for all their hard work in putting this together. I'd also like to thank my colleague, Commissioner Charlie Kenny, for his support in this initiative. He wanted to be here today, but he couldn't make it. So I want to recognize him for championing this program. Too many kids are drowning. We cannot have this. We need to make sure that we take aggressive action, and that's why we're here today. On average, approximately 3,500 to 4,000 people drown in the U.S. each year. That's crazy. That's really sad. That's an average of 10 fatal drownings per day, making drowning a leading cause of accidental death, especially among children. Fortunately, studies show that early intervention pays off. By teaching swimming lessons at a young age, we can establish a lasting skill that many will use for the rest of their lives. But swimming lessons can be expensive. They are a luxury that many families can't afford. The cost, as well as cultural myths around swimming, may prevent some parents from enrolling their children in swimming lessons. Through our initiative, we hope to eliminate these barriers and help turn the tide on drownings. There are nearly 8,500 second graders in Middlesex County, and I hope that every single one of them will join our swim lesson program. With our new initiative, those lessons will come at no cost to their family. The safety of our families is always a priority, and as a parent and a grandparent myself, I know that this program will not only make children in Middlesex County safer, it will also bring peace of mind to their parents. If you have a child in your life who is entering second grade in Middlesex County this fall, I strongly encourage you to take advantage of this program and enroll them in swimming lessons. Thank you.
This program is an amazing program. Les Jones, as the director mentioned, is here, and he is the head of our public health department, and his staff have been doing an amazing job putting together the program, and they will continue to work with all the towns to implement the program. And one of the things that you'll hear about is the fact that not every town has an incredible facility like the one we're here at today in Piscataway, which is amazing. The pool's amazing. I know there are people here from other towns who use this pool. And what we are doing through this program is we are setting aside resources so that if a town does not have a community pool, but there are private pools, we can work with the town so that those private pools will allow the children to be taught there, and we will pay those fees. And if you're in an area where there aren't accessible pools like that, we will cross borders of towns, because we're all one community here. The 25 towns, we, as a county, we all want to work together for this incredible initiative.
It also, we need to express, even though when you get swim lessons, you need to swim in supervised areas. I mean, not down at the rivers unless it's cordoned off, not in the bays unless there's supervised swimming, not in the ocean unless there's supervised lifeguards, and even in pools, you need supervision, especially young children. It's okay to learn the basics of swimming, but supervision goes a long way. I mean, you even see adults who drown at the shore because they get caught in a riptide. So I think it's incumbent upon us to talk about the supervision part of it too. And I want to thank the county commissioners for sponsoring this initiative countywide. I think it's a great thing. And you're right, Deputy Director, for getting this moved along early on. Better now than later, because the seasons go very quickly here. So thank you all for coming out. Well, we're also very fortunate enough to have our second ward councilman, who happens to be the council vice president in Piscataway Township, Dennis Espinosa, who's here to talk a little bit about the bicycle rodeo that's upcoming in July. It's never too early to talk about that. I know it's during the summer. It's going to be on, I believe, July 13th, Councilman?
That's right, Saturday, July 13th.
So what can people, if I'm a new person out here in town, or I've never been to a bicycle rodeo, what can I expect? And matter of fact, who should show up at the rodeo?
Well, first of all, thank you very much, Mayor, for having me on. Biking now is very popular because of the weather. It's out, everyone's out there. So the bicycle rodeo right now, it goes through, it's really geared for bike safety. It allows the kids in the community to go and have an experience, safety experiences from professionals that are out there. For example, how to fit a helmet. A lot of people don't know the importance of actually right-sizing a helmet for you. If it's too loose, it may be a little bit, dangerous. It may not protect you as well as it should. It also enables you to understand the safety protocols out there in the road. Kids don't know any hand signals. They go and they just ride. They want to make a left or right, and there's people on the streets sharing the same sidewalk or street, and they will learn signals. They will learn safety. They will learn to obey signs, such as the stop sign, which is very important as well.
Which people have a hard time obeying when you're driving a car.
That's right. And everybody shares the road. Everybody has to obey, and that's all about safety. And if kids are out there, they have to obey the same rules for their safety and for everybody else.
So, all right. So I know, obviously, when I was a kid growing up, they didn't really promote helmets for children, especially here in Piscataway. I mean, you just got on a bike and went wherever you went and hoped that you didn't fall down and do serious physical damage to yourself. But awareness of safety of biking has become, over the last 20 years, has advanced so far from where it was 20 plus years ago. And how do you think why that transpired? More publicity of serious accidents, possibly?
Well, for children, especially children, it's for everybody, but especially children, we want to protect them. A fall they can have a serious injury, a head injury when they fall. Falling the wrong way could have serious impact. And that's who we really want to protect. You want to protect your head, with your, we always say when we were young, you would put some dirt on your wound and, everything else. But your head is very important. You want to avoid that type of trauma for any head injury. And that's why the helmet's very important. You don't know suddenly can come across your path and then you have to do a sudden turn and it just throws you off your bike. You'll be protected by a helmet. So that's
now,
why
one of the
highly
things that
recommended.
normally bothers me, you'll see parents out there possibly biking with their children, teaching them safety measures. The children are wearing bicycle helmets, but the parents aren't. And I think that's what you're never too old not to wear a helmet.
That's right. And I love seeing that, it's true. Back in the day, a lot of kids didn't wear helmets. There wasn't a lot of awareness. And it's interesting because when I see some kids riding still without a helmet, it just puts something in me that says, I hope that kid doesn't get hurt, later on.
Now, last year at the bicycle rodeo, I know what transpired, because you were there. What could people expect at the rodeo?
So at the rodeo, again, more than safety, more than obeying signs, they have a great obstacle course for kids. And it's not just for bikes, it's for skateboarders and scooters. They can go there. They can actually also learn the traffic signs like the stop signs, the yield signs, and how to avoid obstacles on the road without making any sudden turns. They have an obstacle course there that can actually teach you how to do that or practice. It's really, really nice. They chalk up the whole entire sidewalk and it looks great. I think we've taken pictures of that. They also have tents, the recreational departments there. They also have a tent that bike mechanics are there, so that way they can do some minor tweaking of your bike. Maybe you have a flat. You can go ahead and bring your bike and they'll check your tires, they'll check your chain, they'll give you recommendations on any type of fixes that you may need if it's a bigger fix that's needed. They can do minor tune-ups to your bike, so that way your bike can be healthy
And
as
when
well.
you mean a minor tune, you're talking about the brake calibration?
Yeah, so of course, healthy bike, healthy you, right?
Mhm.
So the first thing you need to do when you ride a bike is, first of all, you need a bike. And second of all, you need to check your bike. If you have low air on your tires, that can be dangerous as well, because if you hit an edge or a sidewalk, the edge of a sidewalk, that can actually pop your tire and you may lose control. Or you're gonna stay without air in your tire. You have a flat tire, and then that's not fun. But also for bike brake calibrations, that's also important. Sometimes the brakes are so worn that you may have been riding your bike for such a long time, and that wears out. So it doesn't have the same friction as it needs. So yes, they check that as well. They check your chain. Sometimes if you have gears on your bike, they do minor tweaks on that as well, minor tune-ups to make sure that your gears are working a little bit more properly for the road.
Now, who are the folks that, are these folks that are certified to check the bikes out? Or this is not just somebody as a layperson?
Yeah, I believe they're from the Middlesex Bike Exchange.
Yeah.
So they have all the tools necessary there. They are professionals. I did speak to some of them, and they're a great group of people. They love to help the community. They like to get the word out there about biking and making people aware how to take care of your bike. So it's great conversations. I remember last year, that tent was packed. But they have enough people. I think they were manned by 10 or 12 people.
Well, I had to laugh. Last year, you saw a lot of young kids coming up, and they liked the fact that their bikes were getting little overhauls on them. They were watching very intently while the work was being done on their bikes.
That's right. And you know what?
And that included adjusting handlebars to height. And why is that important?
Well, sizing your bike to yourself is very important, right? Because if you're too big for your bike, then your back is going to end up hurting, or you may get into an accident. You may flip over your bike, although that will happen anyway. But you're more susceptible to it. The height of your seat also is very important. Properly adjusting your seat so that way you'll be comfortable, and second of all, So that way, you know, you can actually have the maximum potential of your pedaling, right? So that way, you know, you'll get more distance for your efforts.
Now, what do they talk about riding at night on a bike? I mean, I know this is happening during the daylight hours, but I mean, do they discuss with kids? Like, most younger kids aren't going to be out on the bikes at.
Yep. So as part of the safety measures that you need to look at your bike is to ensure that you have reflectors on your bike, right? So you have probably 4 common reflectors on your bike. You have 1 in each wheel, right? For the side view when you're crossing the street, so that way the oncoming traffic can see you. And then you have a reflector in the front for the traffic coming towards you. And then you have your red reflector in the back, so that way traffic behind you can see it. So it's very important that you have all reflectors on your bike. Sometimes night riding also, and that's very popular, that a lot of people do night rides because it's the weather's nice. People buy the blinker lights, and they do night riding all the time. Like, I've done night riding with my kids. It's fun. Where you put lights on your tires, lights on your bike, and it's just really fun. So I do recommend it, but you know, be safe with it. Make sure all your reflectors are there. That's standard.
Now, you said it's not just, it's for folks that do skateboards also, but what about folks that are on those scooters, little two-person scooters? Electric scooter.
There's no electric scooters there. I have not seen one, although electric bikes are getting more and more popular. But I don't see kids riding on electric bikes, you know, at least less than 14 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they have to obey the same rule. Helmets, reflectors, street signs, all that applies to them as well.
And it's up to a certain age where you have to wear the helmet. I mean, even though we're encouraging people to wear helmets no matter what your age is, but I think the state law is up to, I think, 16 or something like that. You have to wear a helmet.
Well,
I forget what the age is.
I don't know what the age is, but I tend to ignore that.
Yeah.
You should wear a helmet every time.
You know, people don't realize, like, sometimes in certain parts of town, you can get up to like 30 miles an hour on a bike.
Yeah, I've gone
and
to
you know,
30
if
miles.
you hit something, you know, you could get a serious spill there.
Yeah, you can. Again, with that type of riding, if you're going to expect to do that type of riding, I'm hoping that you're also wearing a helmet. That's a given.
Now, last year they also had helmet giveaways there too.
That's right. I think the helmet giveaways were for kids under 13 or 14.
Yeah.
So they were giving away helmets, and they were also teaching you how to put a helmet, right-sizing the helmet, which again is very important.
And I think that was done through Robert Wood Johnson, I think, or one of the hospitals.
I thought it was from Keep Middlesex Moving, but I could be wrong.
Yeah. No, but there's a lot of events coming up, but this one is really watching the kids come out with their bikes, and more importantly, the parents with their kids.
That's right.
And it's a fun day to come to the community center, and you know, we have it between 9 and 11. It's not going to be, in theory, too hot by then. And then, you know what, if you're members of the community center, you could just go into the spray park afterwards.
That's right. One thing also that I do want to mention during the rodeo is that our police department's there as well, and they also get to enjoy to see the kids learning about safety, because it's important for them as well, so they can follow. So it's really a community event that everybody gets involved, parents, kids, and they get to interact with our police department as well, and they're there.
Well, they're there to make sure people are safely while they're on the road, because it makes their job easier. And bicycle awareness. And over the last 5 to 6 years, we've installed more bicycle lanes in town than we've had in history. Like the latest ones that were installed and revamped and striped are on Ethel Road West now. So wherever we can, we're installing striped bicycle, 5-foot shoulder bicycle lanes out there, which is good. So at least everybody knows the roads where the lanes are.
Yeah, thanks for that, Mayor.
Yeah.
That's actually great. You know, again, sharing the road is important. Knowing where these bike lanes is important as well. So, yeah. So, you know, maybe perhaps we can work together on actually introducing a map with the bike lanes.
Show them where the bike lanes are.
Show them where the bike lanes are.
And I also, you're looking on to do a bicycle tour around town. I don't know, you're
That's
working on.
right. That's in the works. I've been working with many people. We're going to introduce a Piscataway bike tour, and we're going to be picking a route, selecting a route, a very safe route, so that way everybody can enjoy parts of Piscataway together, cycling, scootering, however they want. It's not a race.
Yeah.
It's just a leisure ride going through certain sections of Piscataway. I'm hoping that this is going to grow, but let's see how the first year goes, and then we'll do minor modifications.
Okay, well, I want to thank the Council Vice President Dennis Espinosa and the Second Ward Councilman for stopping by the June Eye on Piscataway, and we look forward to everybody stopping by the Bicycle Rodeo on July 13th at the Community Center. Parents, please put it on your calendar with your children to come out. Spend a whole day out at the community center, because there's a lot of ideas and everything going on there, and the police department would see everybody come out there,
absolutely,
as well as the folks on the rec commission. So with that, I want to close out the show and remind everybody that the July 4th celebration is on July 4th with fireworks probably around 9:30 in the evening, and then there'll be some other events going on today. So just keep an eye on our township, piscatawaynj.org, and also our township Facebook website for all the upcoming events in July. So with that, we'll see you then.
Chairperson of the Piscataway Public Relations Advisory Commission, and this is my team. We're responsible for putting on this event for your pleasure, and we welcome you, and we're so glad that you're here to enjoy the food, the festivities, the services, as well as the merchant vendors. Enjoy your day.
I hope everybody's going to have a beautiful time. So I want to thank the first responders that are out here and everybody in the Public Works who helped set everything up. And I want to thank the National Weather Service for delivering this gorgeous day out here. This has to be the best day in 30 plus years that we've had the fair.